Hi. Hi, everyone. Let me see if there's someone joining in. And then we start. Let me see how I look first of all on this platform. Kandaminga Benzarika. Okay, here we are. I'm supposed to be there. Why isn't this live with a what? With a title? Who is the one person watching? So I decided to go live using YouTube and not stream it like I usually do. So this is a bit different for me. I'm trying to see what it looks like here. Maybe I shouldn't have done this. Let's see. Yeah. Oh my god, it just says Joanita Maaya is live. Let me see. Let me see. Let's see if I can go to the YouTube studio and sort it out. This is not my studio. Switch to let's let's see. Who am I missing? Content type live fly. Okay. Okay, guys, we're about to start. Guys, if you are watching, wherever it is that you're watching in from, please say hi before I start. Like I mentioned, I'm doing something different today. I have changed a few things. Number one being I'm using my phone. Number two being I am doing what? I am live streaming I am chatting live on YouTube and not streaming it like I usually do. I don't know the difference. I don't know what it looks like here, but that's just about it. So yeah, guys, check in. How is everyone doing? What's new with you guys? Why would I roll my eyes? Okay, I need to stop watching myself here. Just say hi and then I start. Let me see. Who is watching me? If the men is watching, the men say hi. You know who you are. Okay, let me just go through this. Kale, tugenda tandika kati. We're 3 minutes in. I think we'll start at the 4-minute mark and then we just go on and see where life takes us, I guess. Guys, don't leave me hanging. Oh, this is hot. It's not for me. That is not for me. Okay, I think I'll just go ahead and start. So, as per our previous live, a few of you guys, well, my subscribers, mentioned that they wanted to know about the history of Uganda. I said, you know what, I'll do a live. Let's do a live this week. I'll just be talking about the history of Uganda. Like, I have a few notes here, so if you see me look on my iPad looking beat up, if you see me looking down, just please understand me. I'm just looking at my notes. I couldn't remember most of the things from my from like from is it like O level history class and whatnot. So what is this? Oh no, this is why you need to leave some things to young people. Guys, can I please know who's watching me before I start? But don't do that here. We are family. Pick that up. I'm sorry. I'm sorry about that. Okay. Hello guys, I'm going to just start. Let me see. I can't leave. Okay, so we're gonna start. So I looked and saw, like, should I talk about pre-colonial times, colonial times, after colonialism? So, but I needed to like pick an era that was interesting and had like a bit of everything. So I decided to go with the colonial era, which was in the 1890s to the 1950s. That's the era that I'm going to concentrate on. In case you're just joining us, we're talking about the history of Uganda. This may be boring, but in case you're interested in history and you love to just find out about certain things, then you can stay. In case you're not like a nerd and a history buff, I would also understand, you know. Sorry, it's not for everyone. Let me just drink some water before I start. Let me start. I need to finish this. Okay. Yeah, I see some people have left already. Yeah. So now that the ones who are staying are staying. So let's talk about the colonization time. So most people think colonization is just like a bunch of white people coming with their horses and just taking over, you know, and you know, just letting black people know that, hey, we're white, we've come take over, and that was it. It was a lot happened with colonialism, where it's like they were very strategic. They had certain tactics, they had certain plays put in place so that they could colonize Uganda. It wasn't just them coming over, looking at this lovely place and then deciding to colonize it. They actually had a plan. That's one thing about the British. They had a plan that they were going to. Hi, it's my truth. Wait, can I respond here? I have to respond there. Anyway, um when they came to colonize Uganda, they definitely had a plan. They didn't just come and say, oh my God, no, you know what, we're going to colonize Uganda. They thought of everything, they did everything. So let us start. So let's start from the time that the British arrived. So this was in 1819. So when the British came in 1819, Uganda became a protectorate. Now, this thing used to give me a headache in history class, because in the history lessons and whatnot, they would say so a protectorate was different from a colony, right? So with a protectorate, they kept some local structures intact, but they were also under the British control, and they used the indirect rule. That's why I say when they came to colonize Uganda, they didn't just do the colonization, they actually had to do it indirectly, you know. It's like indirect tax, if you understand economics, you know. They didn't want to show that, hey, we're trying to colonize you, but they had certain tactics in place that meant that they were trying to colonize, you know. They were leading, they were taking charge through leaders, you know. It's, I don't know how to explain. It's like I can't use Trump as an example. It's like a puppet. Yeah, the local leaders were puppets, you can call them that, because the British were using them to sort of inflict their rule, or sort of do things that would benefit them in the end, without necessarily doing what, that being directly involved with the local people. You understand? It's like they had managers in place to make sure everything was moving smoothly without them getting their hands dirty. That's what they did, you know. And one thing that stood out when we were in class is that the British actually chose Buganda as their administrative and political center. Now, because of them doing that, Buganda sort of developed economically and infrastructure wise more than any other region in Uganda. And that was because in Buganda, the British chose it as an administrative center. That's why it was better that time. It's now, it's, the struggle is real, but I hope you see where I'm going with this, you know, because the Buganda kingdom was already organized. You know, it's like when you're trying to colonize a certain place, you also want to colonize some organized people, because like they already had a king. They had a king they would follow. The king had ministers under him. He had his how do they call, helpers under him. So you would rather colonize that because it's already organized than go colonize like any other place that wasn't more structured like Buganda was. It was organized. It had Baganda had already cooperated with the missionaries. By the way, before colonizers came, there were some people who came with the word of the Lord. And coming with the word of the Lord, they managed to get in and do what they could. Pause. Now we head over to the 1900 Uganda agreement. Ugandans have this thing where if they're making a joke, they will say, "Oh," like an old person, they're making a joke towards an old person. They say, "Oh, you are as old as 1900, or like, or 1900." It meant old, like everyone knew that agreement, the Uganda agreement, the 1900. It was the London power shift, yada yada. So this was signed between the British and the Buganda Kingdom. Now the Buganda Kingdom is important for you to note because, like I said, it was the political center for the British and it was easy for them to do their thing. So in the 1900 Buganda Agreement, about 50% of Buganda's land was declared Crown land, which is British property. These guys came, no, they sent the missionaries first with the word of the Lord. And then afterwards, they came and colonized. And then after the colonization, when they sent the agreement to Buganda, they said, you know what, give us 50% of your land and call this land Crown land property, and the rest was divided among the Buganda chiefs, the royals, and that created the Milo land system. When you're trying to buy land in Uganda, there's a Milo land system, and then I think the other one is what, tenure free? Yeah, what is it? Not me forgetting the things I'm supposed to be knowing. I think there's another one. But anyway, they're also trying to do away with the Milo land. So the, oh sorry, yeah, not tenure free. It's freehold, leasehold, and then Milo. Freehold, leasehold, and then Milo plus customary. You know. But freehold is where you need to be in it. Let me not get distracted. Let me look at my notes once more because I actually did this. Okay, so after they distributed the land, they took 50%, crowned it their land. Bananga. Anya Peter baby. Hi Godspeed, welcome. We're learning about the history of Uganda. Like I said, if you're not into history, it may be boring. If you are, welcome. We're here to learn. So after they signed the 1900 Uganda Agreement, well, we're still in the signing of the 1900 Uganda Agreement, the Buganda chiefs were turned into British agents. That's why I'm telling you, the thing that I mentioned before, the indirect rule needs to keep coming back because they didn't outright say we are trying to take over or anything like that. They used the people that they were going to take from their own people. Is the English too much? But that's it. So they made the chiefs into British agents. Now, the Kabaka was still recognized because they could have made the Kabaka another British agent, but no, the king still made. A Kabaka is a king in the Buganda kingdom. The king still maintained his name under British guidance, obviously. So what happened when they decided to take 50% of the Milo land? So this introduced land ownership, which was something that was foreign before. I guess in the times before, you just happen to have land and you just happen to own that, and that was it. And then it also created like the landlord tenant, but then also that also like caused a ripple effect of like land issues, land wrangles, and so much more. There's still issues concerning land from that 1900 Uganda agreement. Anyway, so did everything begin with this one agreement? Stick with me. I'm almost there. So let's talk about some of the tactics that the British used. If you're listening from the beginning, I talked about how they didn't just come on vibes. They literally came with a plan. They came with a strategy. They came with tactics. They knew what they were doing. They used indirect rule. It wasn't something that they just woke up and started doing. They planned it. That's where we need to go. So we also see that the British favored certain groups, mainly Baganda, in administration and education. Now, mind you, Buganda was chosen as the administrative and political center for the British. Then we see under the land agreement, oh my God, sorry. Yo. So we see under the the land agreement that Uganda was meant to be a political center. It was the administrative center. They made them into British agents. Like Uganda was benefiting. But did you know that by them making Buganda, the central region, by them making that the favorite child, that created some sort of tribalism. Thank you so much, Aspire Truth. No, not you saying for the history. Well. Thank you so much. I do appreciate it indeed for the history. So what was I saying? Like in them letting Buganda be their favorite child, they created tribalism. Do you see where I'm going with this? There were tribes, but initially the tribalism wasn't. It hadn't stuck. But when these people came and started playing favorite child, guess what happened? Dun dun dun. So the Buganda chiefs became collaborators. They aided in their colonization. The chiefs aided in that collaboration because they turned into British agents. They had this job, so obviously they're gonna, you know, live their best life. And like I mentioned, by the British, so when the British picked the central region as their favorite child, what did they do to the other regions? They looked to the other regions for soldiers and labor reservoirs. Do you see what's happening there? They are literally pinning the tribalism on the people, right? So in that, the central region obviously developed faster and socially, and that was that. Obviously, the British planted seeds of tribalism. They promoted some groups. They played favorite child, and that's what they got. Now, after that, we look at the missionary education, right? So that after that, Protestants and Catholics were introduced. Schools were set up. In the central region and outside the central region. Christianity spread. And when Christianity spread, it demonized certain beliefs and practices. Obviously, there are certain things that people go ahead to do, and then there's that. So and in them educating their favorite child, obviously their favorite child ended up having so many educated people and the elite, and that was what set them up out from the other people. And that was it. So guys, so when the British came, some people were not happy about it. Not everyone was a collaborator like some chiefs. So they decided to do what? They decided to fight back. So here's some of the people who resisted back. So we have the Kabalega of Munyoro. That is a tribe in Western Uganda. Blue King, thank you. How do I like this comment? Okay, I think there's no option to like. Okay, thank you so much for looking. Anyway, so we had the Kabalega of Bunyoro, right? So the Kabalega fought the British. That was between 1894 to 1899. Unfortunately, he was captured and exiled to Seychelles or Seychelles or something, So his main thing was imposition of the British rule. He was not happy about it, and he fought back. Now, number two also fought back. That was Mwanga II of Uganda. He tried to resist both the missionaries, both Christianity and the British rule. And then he and Kabalega actually became allies for a short time to try to get rid of the British rule that had invaded Uganda, if you say so. Hi, Charlie. Oh, thank you. You're welcome. I thought I'm boring you guys, literally. Anyway, history must be I guess discussed. But Mwanga too was also exiled. So I'm now on the resistance movements. The people who were exiled. There's so many people exiled when they decided to stand up to the British. There were also like worker strikes, and sometimes, but not like the protests and the resistance were not just like guns and people fighting. Sometimes they were, what am I saying? Resistance wasn't just guns. It was protest, it was strikes, even silence or deciding not to collaborate with the people. That's what it was for the people. So when we move on, so the British came, decided to conquer Uganda. But when they conquered Uganda, they decided to move Uganda from a self-sustaining economy. Key word, Uganda was self-sustaining itself as an economy, and then it moved to an export economy. Are we together? Yes. So now then they started making sure we gave them cash crops like cotton, coffee, sugar canes. Obviously, it aligned with the British and what they were doing in terms of manufacturing. So they sort of needed Uganda to be able to produce all those things. So that's where it came in. And then we saw infrastructure coming up, railways and whatnot. We saw the Indian coolies come in to build the railways and whatnot. That's how the Indians got into the coast and Uganda and Kenya and everywhere, Mombasa. Um, Mind you, the infrastructure wasn't even built for Ugandans. It was built to benefit the exports that they were taking to their home countries and not for Ugandans. It wasn't benefiting them. It was all about them. Yeah. So, like keyword, when the Indian coolies came in, they introduced the Indians, and we will later see where the class division is going to come in when now that the Indians join the equation. So in the 1940s, people were tired, there was frustration but from the British rule. Ugandans felt like they were underpaid. There was high taxation, there was unequal opportunities, there was a lot of classism, there were land issues because they introduced the Milo land tenure system. And then there were riots in 1945 to 1949. I believe those were Kampala riots, and then they got parties formed like Bataka Party, and yeah, and pretty much it. So that's not to say when the British colonized, that is to say when the British colonized, they didn't just leave physical buildings and infrastructure, they left tribalism, they left classism, they left division, they left so many things that shape how Uganda works today. Literally, our whole justice system is based off our colonial masters. Our education system is based off our colonial masters. Even today, someone was saying, why does Uganda drive on the right? We don't know. We don't have a reason, but that's because of the colonial masters. They We pick on everything they do. That's why there's some things in my English that sound wrong, but they're actually right because it's British English and not American English, because that's what most Ugandans have been brought up on. That's what they've been told. What else is in the after colonial masters? There's so many things after colonial masters. Our roads are named after some colonial masters, although that is changing. I'm yet to see them work on it swiftly, taking their sweet time. There's so much that we do for our colonial masters, and that is pretty much it for this part that I decided to talk about. Let me read some comments. Hi Charlie, that's a tactic that colonial uses to scoop the colony depending on the colonizer. Oh my god, which tactic was that? Which tactic did I mention, Charlie? Yeah, they did so much. They divided so many tribes. They hold on. They divided so many tribes. They introduced that classism. Now, oh, fun fact: the way Kampala is constructed is based off some German engineer. What is this? Oh, hold on. Design. Hold on. Hold on, guys. I'm trying to find the. Yeah. So Ernest May, a German architect and urban planner, lived in East Africa from 1934 to 1950. 1945. 1954 anyway. So apparently the government contacted him to develop the areas for Kololo, Naguru, and Nakawa and whatnot. So let me get a pen. You know, we have visual people here. Do I need a pen? Where is my board? Sorry guys. We have a cute little board here. Try to get a marker. I'm getting at something. You need to trust the process. Trusting the process means trusting me. Where is the pen? You need to trust the process. Tell us the book. Oh, I wouldn't say it's a book per se, Charlie. I put two and two together from my history class, but I'll share with you my sources. We used to study these things at school. By the way, we studied these things at school in O level. I'm trying to remove my to-do for the week so that you guys don't see. So we learned most of these things in school. I wish I paid more attention, but I never liked history as a child. I was more into commerce and literature. Okay, so we're going to draw the city of Kampala. So right here is the city. So we're going to use Acacia as a point of reference, right? So when Ernest May was made to build this is a road. So let's not get this way. He had to build it in a way that benefited the colonizers. So these are the parts of Kololo, the rich places of Uganda, like we call them. So this is where the white people were. After the white people came the Asians and the Indians in this next circle here. After the Asians and the Indians, then Ugandans came, filling in this circle here. And this circle here is where the slums are. Do you get it? This is Kampala. This whole thing is Kampala, but this is like a road. It's like in a circle. White people are here, the Asians are here, then the Ugandans are in the slums. There's even a whole street called Kosasiro Street, right? So the reason for that was because the whites wanted to feel protected, that if the black people decided to attack them, they would attack the Indians first before they got to them. Does that make sense? Am I making sense? Please let me know if I'm making sense. But that's how Kampala was created. That the white people were in the middle, and then the black people were on the outcasts, and that was just about it. Hold on, just go back here. But that's it. It is so interesting. And when you think about it, that is how Kampala is. Like the rich-ish, then the poor. Oh, this is great. Oh, thank you. Thank you. I'm glad that I could share with you guys something. But okay. Okay, that's it. Yeah. Oh, thank you for looking at. Thank you. I'm glad to educate you guys. But that was pretty much it. Then after that, obviously, we all know how we came to independence. I did a whole video about it on Independence Day. That was October last year. It's up on my channel. So that is it. That's how we came about, you know. That's how the missionaries came through. That's how the colonizers came through. That's how Ugandans came through. That's how tribalism was born. That's how classism was born, and a lot more. Because we can see that after colonialism, we had independence, and then that's it. You know, we had the Benkiwan cast, Milton Oboti, Kabaka Mutesa. Before what I just talked about, you know, maybe I can talk about some of the kingdoms, and then we see how the colonizers got us, because if we were so organized, how is it that they were able to do something like that? So here are the kingdoms in Buganda at that time. So we have the Buganda kingdom that I've talked about, that was loved by the British, that ended up becoming collaborators. It was powerful and a centralized kingdom. Akabaka in Buganda is, oh, thank you, it's my truth. Well, Akabaka in Buganda is called king. That's what we call a king in the Buganda kingdom. So Buganda sounds like Uganda. So don't get that twisted. So Buganda had everything, guys. It had a tax system, it had a standing army, it had a cabinet, although that's not what they were calling it. Like, it had so, you know, and it expanded by actually taking over some small chiefdoms through conquest. Two, hold on. Two, we had the Bunyorokitara kingdom. So Bunyorokitara is like in the west. It's by the Banyoro. It's one of the oldest. That's where Kabalega came from to resist British rule, and then he ended up getting exiled. It now each kingdom in Uganda has a different name for its leader, for a king. So in central region, it's called Kabaka. In Bunyoroktara, which is western region, it's called Omukama. In Ankole, which is west, is Omugabe. Although as of now, the kingdoms are there, but they're not as strong as they used to be before. They don't have hold on. They don't have, like, kingdoms right now are not as popular as they do. They don't have the same pull or the same power that they had as before. So next up we have Ankole kingdoms. The Ankole kingdom is from the west, the Wanyankole and everyone else in that bracket. I don't want to butcher anyone. So this is the southwest. Actually, they're calling it southwest. This is they're called Omugabe. So this is where the Ankole cows come from. You know, the cows are like the long horns, the horns that are shaped so beautifully. So that's where the Ankole come in. The Ankole cows come in. So we also have Bahima, and then the Beiru, the agriculturalists, Bahima cattle keepers. Anyway, after that we have the Toro and the Busoga kingdom. So Toro was split from Bunyoro. Actually, I don't know why they ever did that, to become an independent kingdom. So the king of Toro is called King Oyo Nyimba. Yeah. And then Busoga is, you know what's funny? The current queen of Busoga went to the same university as I. She was such a nice girl, I will say that. She was just a normal girl. So imagine our surprise when we found out she's a whole queen of a kingdom. Small world. Small world. Because now imagine someone like her is a whole wife to a whole king. Whoa, life. Life is amazing. Okay, so we see Toro and Busoga. So Busoga was a collection of chiefdoms with less centralized power. That's why Busoga sort of sounds similar to Baganda. Don't quote me on that. Anyway, so most of the kingdoms were there. They had their own beliefs. They had their own. There was a thing called barter trade back in the days where there's no money involved. It was more of like an exchange of what someone had, back clothes, livestock. There was like exchange. That's how they did trade. You know, they had some fishing going on, some farming going on. They had their own rituals. They had their own folk tales. You know, music, dance. Each region has its own dance. By the way, I don't know if that's something that Americans have, but or know of. But in Uganda, each region has its own dance. Like, literally, you have to have your own dance to, I guess, do something. But that's pretty much it. There's nothing else to it. The languages are also different. Um we have over 52 tribes in Uganda. The languages are different. The music is different, the dance is different, the dress is different, the traditional dresses are different, the traditional practices for marriage are different. There's so many different things between the regions. That's why it's very tough when people say Africa is one. Africa is one, but like, those people say, oh, I went to Africa, but it's like, where in Africa? Because each, where exactly was that, But yeah, that is it, guys. I think I've gone through everything that I can in the short time that I can. I wish it was more interesting. You know what, though? I want to talk about the coastal history. I love the coastal history. You know, it was entertaining, I must say. I was in Fort Jesus, Mombasa, and the history was good, although now it's like so commercialized. It doesn't look as great. But it was good to look at the history and see what people had going on. But yeah, guys. That's it, Banange. I will take some comments and some questions, and then I'll be on my way. Any questions? Anything? Looking is saying, what tribe are you from, Miss Maya? So a child in Uganda takes after their father. So I am from the Buganda Kingdom because my dad is a Muganda. So Buganda Kingdom is central. Buganda Kingdom has clans under it. That's why there's so many names of Na, Ba. So it's things like that. Say, Na. Yeah, it's mostly say, Na. Yeah, but yeah, that's how it rhymes. So I am from the central region, although my mom is from the western region. So like, I'm a mixture of both. But traditionally, you are not allowed to be a. Well, it's not like you're not allowed to be a mixture. It's just like you have to pick your father's side. Names, you have to go with your father's side. Your mother's side is not recognized. Yeah, that's the world we live in. So that's pretty much it. Yeah, but my upbringing is also like quite different because I've been exposed. Yes, Charlie, I got your email about Burkina Faso. I'm thinking of doing a story on that. It's just that when I do African stories, it's interesting. Yeah, I got your email about Burkina Faso and the used clothes. I need to respond to that. But yeah, guys. And in case one of you ends up with a Ugandan queen, these are things you should know. I mean, it would help you, like, I guess, some points. What are the names like per tribe? So, okay, so in the central, the names are like Na. Maybe I should just Na, Say. The money, the Na, Nas, Na, 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 Na. Yeah, actually, there's so many N names because the names go with a clan. Let me just get you, let me get you some names if I start mentioning my names. So, and then in the west, in the north, it's names like Okelo, or Drake, or there are names. I don't know if they're making sense, but like that, they're commonly like that. You know? And then then for west, it's names like, it's also names like Na, but they have many names like Biarhanga, Ba something, Bia something, Na something. Like, it's like now that I say it out loud, it feels like, How do you even explain to someone that there are all these tribes and they have all these names? You know, the Banyankole Tukunda, you know, names like that. Like, okay, so for the central, it's names like Na, Ose, and a lot more. For the west, it's like Tukunda, Bia, Ba, you know. You know, because we're Bantu, we have like that thing in us. Then in the west, and the Basoga, it's Na, it's the Chi, it's Na, Nam. It's just, it's so repetitive. I can't believe it. Then in the north, like I mentioned, it's the O's, the O, Okelo, or Cheng, or Nem. You know, it's like, ugh, I can't even start. Yes, Charlie, I will definitely let you know. Is it common for tribes to intermarry? Yes, as of modern wise, yes, tribes intermarry all the time. The thing why the intermarriage is common now is because people have been able to um people have been able to travel and migrate. So with traveling and migration, they've been able to, I guess, intermarry, you know. And then you have people like me who are mixed with something. So obviously now we're gonna go somewhere else and then mix with something, someone else mix with something, mix it all. That's it. There's a lot of mixing happening. Yeah, people intermarry all the time. Intertribal. Yeah, guys, I think the questions are done. Guys, by the way, Charlie has a whole, like, is it a blog, a medium where he has all these thought provoking articles. Let me see if I can put it in the group so that you guys can check him out and support Charlie. I call it thought provoking because sometimes I watch and I'm like, yeah, I need to work. I need to work harder with my mind. Like I need to. Okay, I've posted it as a pin. Guys, please check out my new website and let me know what you think. If there are any services you want to get from moi, let me know. Oh, why you doing this? My iPad keeps rejecting my name. No, friend, why do you do this? Embarrassing me in front of my people. It's not even working. But yeah, guys, here I am. Joanita. Okay, here I am. Okay, let me share it with you guys. Okay, what tribes are known for which things? So the central tribe, wouldn't that be stereotyping? Would I get in trouble for that? Let me look for the good things. So the stereotypes are never the good things. So for the central tribe, I don't want to say anything that will get me cancelled. But I'm trying to look for something nice. Can you believe it? Like, I don't know anything. No, I know nice things about them, but okay, so I will say Vanyankole are known for their cows. If you are a man out there and you have no cows, in their eyes, you are a broke man. They call them umwiru, a beiru, like farmers. So you have no money. That's the Vahima. That's one thing they're known for. Non-cattle keepers are broke. People have cows as 100, 300, 600, 1,000 just to have cows. They're not commercial. That's where the money is. The rest, Guys, I'm literally, I could say so many things about the Central, but I will only be stereotyping them. They will not like it. But I will, okay, let me pick nice words. The Central is known like people who are dominant and money, sorry, power hungry people. So that's the Central for you. And then in the West, proud, that's you. And they will not be mad about that. They're proud, and if you're non-cattle keeper, you are a broke person. And then the choli, obviously now the choli, I will say they're dark skin, like it's not like being racist, it's like they have amazing skins, that's for sure. They're dark, lovely, melanated queens and kings, over there. They're tall, that is in terms of physical looks, but they're also like good. By the way, they are good English speakers too. If you hear someone from the north speak, it's different from someone in the central. The English is so much better, and the dialect is better than the other regions. That's it. The rest will get me in trouble. How familiar is Luganda Swahili? I'm learning Swahili. I want to Luganda next. No, it's not similar at all. They're so different. Like, oh, respond to this Blue King since you're learning Swahili. Unaongea Swahili? Yeah, respond to me if you understood what I said. But yeah, and not many Ugandans actually know Swahili. They tried to introduce Swahili into primary schools, but that didn't work out well for the people, so they sort of dropped it. But yeah, I only happen to know Swahili because we grew up with Congolese. So I grew up in a certain tiny town that sort of bordered Congo, and then there were some Congolese that would pour in from their side. We're not like bordering. Let me not claim we're bordering, but we're close. So we had some. Anyway, I grew up around Congolese. I can hear Lingala. Like if you played Lingala and you made them speak Lingala, I could hear it talk. My sister is fluent in Swahili and so many other languages. By the way, she's like a very linguistic person. It's very artsy. Love that for her. But they're not similar, and not everyone knows those languages. You only have to know it if you're like connected to the people around it. Okay, guys. Sorry, I have to hydrate. That's it. Guys, if I have no more questions, I'm gonna tap out. I hope I didn't bore you guys. I'm so sorry. I hope I didn't bore you. Next week's live, guys, someone guess what it's going to be about. Maybe this time I'll have on a guest. I don't know. Would you guys like for me to like co-host with another girly? Just like switch things up and see how that goes. I'll try out, see how that goes. But yeah, guys, Blue Knight and Charlie, do you have any questions for me before I tap out? Suggestions, anything? All right, I think if you guys have no questions for me, embarrassing. Yeah, looking at, I have lives every Thursday. Now for this month, I'm committing to every Thursday. 2 down, 2 to go. So we'll see about that. But yeah, guys, you looking at more prayers, more prayers in it. Charlie and the rest of you who are watching, thank you so much for joining me. I'll have a cute little setup next time. It's just that today a lot was happening and I just had to come through. But yeah, I will see you guys next time. Let me go, and tomorrow is another day. Another weekend will be here. And then we'll praise the Lord. But yeah, guys, I will see you next time. Guys, I've missed anything, let me know. I wish you all the best in everything that you do. And in all that, how do I end this? Oh, I see it. Once again, I wish you all the best in all that you do. Next time. Till next time. Bye.